Well, hey there, and it's Goldmore and Amber Dawn. I haven't made a video in a while, and I really wanted to because I've been reading. Not these books, no, but I've been reading, and I'm also really excited about NaNoWriMo. Let me. This is last year's shirt, right? Not the winter shirt, but the participate. You know, the. And I can't wait for the new shirt to get here. Okay, so I'm hot as a mofo because it's kind of hot, and it's hot, and I really want to turn on the fan, and I can't because it'll add more noise to trying to record this video. So I better just get to the point. But the suffering, I'm suffering here. I'm even wearing like a bra for you guys, and you can't even see it. I mean, I'm wearing clothing that's not just jammies. The things we do for YouTube, right? Look at my nose, though. I don't wear makeup, so I don't go all out for you guys. Rambling. I haven't made like a Friday reads or a book video, books, for a while, but I've been reading off and on. I'll admit I did finish that book that I didn't want to talk about. It's in my book reading list, so you could probably figure out which book I was ashamed to talk about reading if you look at my book reading list, and I'll link it. I still don't feel ready to talk about it. It's kind of book that I probably would do a book discussion video on, but I haven't really done book discussion videos. I just like talk about the books I'm reading and talk about them and talk. I share whatever thoughts I have on them in these videos. You know, I discuss thoughts or feelings or views on them in the video. So, but that one's got me kind of feeling sensitive. I'll tell you what I am reading though. Now, I am reading Wasted, a memoir. Yeah, people will know what that book's about. I've never read it. I know it was popular for a bit there, like popular again. It was previously published, but had a reignited popularity during the pro-ANA live journal days. I did not read any books on the topic except, yeah, I lived it when I was a kid. I know it's hard to believe, but I had a year of hospitalization, so I did know that. I went to the other extreme, but that's not my story. I just was curious about this book that was so popular. And I have to say, I like a lot of the book references. I like a lot of the stuff shared. And so far, where I'm at in it, I'm still at the beginning. She hasn't, the author in this memoir hadn't become anoretic at that time. She was still bulimic, and but the thoughts she did say when she was going through some of the stuff was about, she had made the connection that wasn't about attention at first. It was about withdrawing into the self, and it was a way of dealing with conflict. And that made me think about how when I had it, I was like 8 or 9 or 10 when I was finally diagnosed borderline anorexia at the time. And then, anyway, my rambling is that I didn't do it for attention or to like, or for beauty reasons or anything of that sort. I did it because I wanted to disappear. There was conflict that in the household I didn't know how to handle. You know, it wasn't for the reasons that they always say it is, like as for, yeah, it was a coping mechanism. And I don't know, I'm reading this book and I'm just trying to keep an open mind, and I'd like to say I'm glad those LJ days are over as far as the communities go, but I know it's all on Tumblr, and if it's not on Tumblr, it's on We Heart It, and you'll always find that. And what I found very interesting about observing those communities as a 20-something-year-old, as a 30-something-year-old, is that you can't make yourself have these illnesses. Well, like certain things, anxiety, depression. I don't think I didn't choose what I go through now, and I certainly wouldn't have chosen to be dealing with like weight, and now I've got hormonal stuff. Like, believe me, you mess yourself up as a kid with any disorders, or later when I dealt with trauma from workplace, I developed binging and had issues with my gallbladder. All that, you know, it just, you it's something she's already mentioned in her book. When you first read it, I don't know why it got so glamorized, because she mentions you mess yourself up. It's lifetime. Like, even when you appear or become healthier, you'll always have the consequences of what happened, of what you did to your body. And I also was thinking about that disassociation from the body. Even now, I'm in my late 30s, and I have a really hard time being connected to my body. Not just when I'm having a severe anxiety episode where I can't feel my skin, you know, that's happened maybe a few times in the past few years. But I mean, like, my connection to my body is not the way I would want it to be. The love, I don't have the love, the centeredness, the grounded appreciation for this vessel that's like carrying me through life that I would like. I don't have this healthy connection with food, even whether I go without eating, or I'm eating the right stuff, or I'm not. I'm not. Wow, this is not about books at all. Welcome to mental health chat, which actually, you know, it was mental health, I don't know, some week or day or something happened recently, because people have been posting more videos about their experiences. And you'd think that I would jump on that and make a video about anxiety, about depression, about PTSD, anything. And I find that it's hard to, because even though there's so much that we can all relate to that are going through this stuff, I feel that it's become buzzworthy. Like, I have to do this BuzzFeed thing about how the 25 most annoying things about having anxiety. You know, somebody don't make that. Probably there is something like that. And it's not that I'm belittling anybody else's experiences with it now. I think it's great that people will still talk about it. I don't think it's stopped people from still judging other people, or saying to them, well, why don't you just get over it? Or, I mean, I even say that to myself. And I've been dealing with this full-blown for like the anxiety, depression since my 20s, since things went down with the workplace. So anyway, thing is that if you're young and you're reading these books like Wasted or whatever, and you think you're going to get inspiration, and you're hearting things and re-tumbling, isn't it, reblogging things on Tumblr for inspiration, you think that's going to help you. Well, I can't tell you anything, because nobody listens to anybody who's older and been through that, because we just don't. We always have to go through the things ourselves. But I just wish that we were taught instead just to love ourselves. I feel like it's too late for me for that. I didn't have... I don't think I had enough built up in me for that. So you work with what you have, but wow, this is really depressing. I guess I just have to say that if you're reading that stuff to try and find ways, tips and tricks, I hope you're not. I hope you're reading the part that she read a lot of books, that she did a lot of self-destructive things, and still, you know, eventually you end up at the point where, guys, you end up at the point where you gotta just, you gotta keep going, and you gotta then somehow see what you can do with your body. Your body's gonna get sick, you know, and you're going to have health consequences, and you're going to have to deal with them while trying to have a life, while trying to do things. And you can waste a lot of time caught up in the cycle and the romanticization, I don't know, of all these things, including anxiety and depression. I mean, I've seen posts where people romanticize that stuff. It's not romantic. It's not romantic to be upset before you go outside. You want to go outside. I want to go outside. Autumn, my favorite season. I love it. And if it wasn't hot today, if it was beautiful out, I love it. I want to take pictures of leaves. I want to be out there. I love the fresh air. But sometimes before going out the door, I'm getting upset talking about it. I will have panic, and it'll make me angry. I'll be angry about it. I'll be frustrated. I'll be upset, and it's so hard. I'm getting upset talking about it. And it's a struggle. It sucks. And there's nothing good about that. And it's just part of it. And I've been trying and learning to roll with it, to do better things for myself. But it's still hard. Like, guys, I'm rambling. I'm just saying, if you're making a mental health video, I think that's awesome. If you're supporting any friends or family that have issues, that's awesome. If you don't understand what they're going through, that's awesome, because that means you're not going through it. But you don't have to necessarily understand it. Just try to be there for the person if you can, because all of these things, the stuff that we go through, they don't have to define us entirely. They just don't. And we let them, especially stuff like eating disorders. We become our eating disorder. And I've seen that that's happened since when I first was diagnosed with anxiety and depression and dealt with the worst of it, what I felt was the worst of it in my 20s. Now I've seen in my 30s that it's become, people are like, even me, I will say, I have anxiety, I have depression, or whatever. I noticed that we're calling it, though, it's as though we're defining ourselves by these illnesses alone. And we're not just that. For instance, just starting to read that memoir, I know that writer also loved to read. And so back to books. Sorry about that. I shouldn't apologize. If you're watching this video, you're watching this video, and I think that's cool. So what you see behind me, I'm seeing it flipped, but I'll flip it back in YouTube. Some recent purchases, and yes, the Murakami's still there, but I am actually more than halfway through it. I got sidetracked by reading a quick J.K. Rowling book. It was just a speech she had made for graduates. I've never been able to graduate at Harvard or anything like that, but it was neat to read the speech. And it was about that you're going to fail life sometimes, or that you should learn empathy with people who don't have as many, don't have the same chances and privileges. And it also had encouragement about having imagination and stuff. So I loved the Murakami book. The thing about it is that I've been putting that book aside. I'll get it. I'm just so nervous about my appearance that I've been putting this book aside. Okay. So this is the other book I'm reading that I've been reading for a while. You'll see I'm this way through it. And you'll be like, it's taking you so long. Didn't you make a video months ago? Yeah, I did. But I've read other books that have come in. Again, I recommend Where Did You Sleep Last Night by Lynn Crosbie. Especially, what was so weird is I finished reading it. You know, it's about, it's kind of like, she called it fanfic, but it's much better written. Oh, I'm insulting everybody. It's written so well, and she uses language in such an interesting way. And she just, her imagination is fantastic. she imagined if that one girl who's a great fan of Kurt Cobain, what would have happened if Kurt Cobain actually was pulled toward that and went into somebody else's body, and they were like, she was in a hospital for a coma. And then it sounds cheesy, but it's not. I recommend Where Did You Sleep Last Night, but the thing is, I finished reading it, and then Frances got married, the daughter of Kurt Cobain, who has somehow managed to not become like Courtney, although I have no disrespect to her Courtney love. I think that, you know, I actually, one of my favorite, because of the age I am, one of my favorite albums is Live Through This, right? But I think that whatever happened to make Frances the way she is now is cool. I think Frances, from her Twitter at least, seems like a really smart, level-headed, interesting person, right? So whatever reasons for that, that's, you know, and especially when she called out, oh, and I know this is the, I'm a Lana Del Rey fan of her music. I know it romanticizes and blah, 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 but I'm a fan. I'm a fan of her music, and because I love all sorts of music, so we won't even get started on music. But when she did say something about, I think she might have mentioned the 27 Club or whatever, and that's, you know, the something. I'm not gonna go into it, but Frances called her out on Twitter about it, and pretty much there's nothing. I'm paraphrasing. I'm not even saying what she said, but basically, you know, it's not cool to have someone you love kill themselves and leave you, you know. I think she would have preferred that her dad had not killed himself. And let's not debate whether he did or not. We don't know. We weren't there. Oh my goodness, Vincent. But whatever the case may be, her dad isn't alive, and that's not cool. There's nothing cool about that. I know I'm on tangents, but I apparently need to talk. So, anyway, he's still interesting to us, especially to my generation. My generation was, you know, I was a teenager in the 90s, so, you know, I got into Nirvana, and wow, it was a weird time to be into Nirvana and Pearl Jam and Soundgarden and all that, while also into all the, you know, dance music and stuff. Oh, Lynn Crosbie just liked a photo of mine on Instagram, and I was just talking about her book, and she doesn't know I'm recording this, because how could she know? That's freaking cool. I'm fangirling now. I'm okay. That's cool. We're cool. We're Instagram buddies, you know. Anyway, sorry, that just made me smile. Oh, that's cool. She takes really interesting photos in Toronto. I miss that. Taking street photography in Toronto is much more interesting than, I'm sure, than in my hometown. Though I don't go out much, so I wouldn't know. Okay, so Vincent's purring. I talked about that book. Okay, finished it. Frances Being Cobain, the daughter of Kurt, gets married. She just gets married. This is recent. You know about it, right? Because you're cool. You know about it. And people said her husband looks like her dad, like Kurt did. And I thought, well, they're just trying to draw connections. And then the one post, it didn't really, meh. And then in another post, I think Alan Cross shared it. He had a video clip in there of the guy's band. And I'm like, that sounds like the 90s. And oh my gosh, a guy does resemble her father. And then there's this thing about girls wanting to marry their fathers. I am on tangents, but that kind of spooked me a little, that he does resemble, and she can't be unaware of it, or maybe she isn't aware of it. But then I was thinking about that whole thing. Oh, I got shivers. Read Where Did You Sleep Last Night, and then think a little bit more about Frances' recent marriage. But apparently those two have been together for like 5 years. I don't know. I'm just gossiping and chatting with you guys at this point. If that's the case, though, it sounds like a solid relationship so far. Though my first relationship lasted about 6 years and it was not solid, so I don't know. First love's no. Anyway. So I told you how I got sidetracked. But that I was inspired to read this. I've got a collection of Murakami that I bought on one of my book binges that I did. Bringing it back to the first topic of the thing. The great thing, the reason why I know this is still a good book, even though I've set it down to read other things now and then, like Wasted is one I'm reading because I can read it in places that I wouldn't take a hardback cover. Sorry guys, that was TMI. So that's another reason why this one's taking longer to read. But as soon as I open it back up, I'm right back into the world, the characters. I'm not forgetting these characters. So that's really interesting. I don't forget the character. I don't lose his sense of voice. It's just very easy to go back into this book. And I am curious how it will play out because I'm finally getting into the part where he's starting to find out some things regarding the whole subject matter of the book, which I still recommend Choncey Boddington's video about this book because she made me want to select it from my many choices of books that I could read. Not just books that I love that I could reread, but books that I've bought that I have not read yet. So, I recently received this book, M Train, Patti Smith. There's another person who is a big fan of Just Kids by Patti Smith and recommends the memoir all the time. Just Kids by Patti Smith. You probably know who I mean. I know chapter is in the word. Oh my goodness, you guys know who I mean. Is it chapter reads or is there more? I don't know what. I'm not at my computer, so I can't tell you, but I follow her. She's always got a great background and always the best books. I've got a lot of those books. But I mean, always, and she talks straight at the camera. She wears glasses. She's lovely, and you know who I mean. She always recommends Just Kids by Patti Smith, and I have to tell you that was one of my favorite reads recently, or in the past year or whatever. I keep a book reading list, so I know I read it then. But, so I'm really interested in reading this. It just came out. I pre-ordered it back in July or whatever, and I got it in October 6th, the anniversary of my twin's death. What I did was I started to read because I couldn't help it. I started to read like the first few pages. It's beautifully made. Yeah, you can see where I've started, and I was like, yeah, I can't wait to read this. So this is going to be read shortly. When I'm done Murakami, I'll finish him first. I also recently got this one. It's quite a price. But I should do this. I don't leave things laying around, but my book room could use some. And that was heavier than I expected. Margaret Atwood. And this looks incredible. Oh, free bookmark. Free bookmark. Free bookmark. 30 years ago, a classic was born. The Handmaid's Tale. Yes. I was given that book by, I believe I was given it by an old friend I had at the time who was a book lover as well as like an English major and every kind of major. I don't know. She did lots of degrees, but she gave me her copy of The Handmaid's Tale and I eventually read it and I loved it. I don't know. Did she give me The Edible Woman or did I find that one on my own? I don't remember, but Handmaid's Tale, when I finally read it, I was like, whoa. So, looking forward to this. I still have Harper Lee. Oh, sorry. I just made my... That's Jejune back there. I have an LJ friend. I bought it from an LJ friend who made her. I've still got Go Set a Watchman on this table because, you know, I was going to read it when everybody was reading it and I didn't. And I've got Virginia Woolf collection because I want to read more Virginia Woolf. Hopefully I've edited this in a way that I don't seem quite so bad, but we don't know. We'll find out when I do. At this point, it's been nearly half an hour. I'm hot. It is too warm in here. I want to update some more about other things, so I will. NaNoWriMo, it's almost here, and I'm actually excited about it again. Last year, I won. I looked up at my certificate. I'll show you. Look, see? There it is, up there. You print it out when you win. I also love, and I have that poster with all those inspiring things. So, ever had one of those moments where you become very aware of your mustache? That's what's happening to me right now. Making videos can be hard. I'm sitting here and it's really hot. I didn't stay on topic. I didn't share what it's been like for journaling or enough about my preparation for NaNoWriMo. So I'm going to get to that right now. For NaNoWriMo, I am going to write every day, about agoraphobia again. My life living in agoraphobia. And yes, I know I've called it a place. I've made it a, that's kind of going back to what I talked about in the beginning of the video, how we've somehow made these illnesses into, I don't know, tangible things. Maybe it's because of the way they affect our life. But anyway, I did 30 days in agoraphobia last year, and I'm going to do it again. I'm going to call it another 30 days in agoraphobia, which, if it works out the way I hope, which is not only to reach the word count, but to accurately describe how my life is every single day, and how the topic of going outside and the pressure combined with the panic is, I hope to have an actual combined, it could be a good document, dare I say novel, but maybe it might take another year to really show what it's really like. I'm not sure. But to prepare for that, I've been typing on 750words.com, doing 750 words a day. Some days I get really inspired on a topic that I'm just, maybe I'm on a tangent about something or I'm fired up, and over 1,000 words will just flow out of me. Other days I am hoping that I hit that 750 words before midnight, and sometimes I get very, very close to not getting there. So it's a struggle writing, but I'm sure those who write can understand. I mean, some people probably can write endlessly all the time, but it's tough when you aren't feeling well, or you just having a difficult time with it. But that's the challenge of it, and it'll be even more of a challenge in November when I have to write over double the words to meet the count every day. But I'm gonna do it. I love NaNoWriMo. I love that certificate up there that says winner. I love the way people are all talking about it, and there's a community of people who are trying to do the same thing, whatever's going on in their lives. People have jobs, children, etc. And for me, I have various things that make it difficult for me day to day. So it's writing despite that, because what I want to do is write. I love writing, and I'd love to write more, and I'd love to become a writer. And writers write, so not just in November, but but still, it's a really good motivating month to do it. So for those who are not sure if they should try or doubt themselves, I want to tell you, I've been on that site for 9 years, and last year was the year that I followed through and wrote all of the words. all of the words. So don't ever give up on yourself if that's what you want to do. If you want to write, write, you know. If you want to vlog. Anything like that, creative wise. It can be hard when you have like this built-in sense of self-doubt and failure and, well, I probably won't succeed, so I won't try, and all that crap that gets into our head about, you know, and distractions. It's so easy to distract yourself these days. I mean, I think back to when I was, back in my day, I sound so old. When I was a teenager, I could read, well, I read Lord of the Rings every year, and I wrote all the time, letters, lots of letters. The days of writing letters to friends and putting the time and thought and care into it. You know. But now it's much harder to put that much focus on things. There are people that do it. They're very vigilant about it, in fact. And that's because it takes some of that. Because there's so much you can do. Even if you're someone who doesn't get out much, you could watch so much, listen to so much, consume so much. So I think there's a bit more of a challenge these days with. So if you want to write, please try NaNoWriMo, because even if you don't write, you're not supposed to write the perfect novel, but even if you don't write something that's perfect or good enough in your own eyes, you're still writing, and it's a start, and it will inspire you to do more. Even if it is only once a year, guess what? That's more words a year than if you're not trying at all. So I've seen some comments of people that don't want to try it. They want to write, but they don't want to try it because they don't think they can write that much. And I think of how we make time for what we want, and that we sometimes underestimate ourselves, and that you can't fail at it if you're trying. You may not reach that 50K, but you'll have something. Like, I've kept my previous attempts at NaNoWriMo, and I think one of them is something that I could work with down the road, or it's at least the basis for something, and that's good, you know? So with paper journaling, I noticed that it's very popular on Instagram, and it is neat to see how much people journal. Kind of makes me feel for the days when I was scribbling madly in my journal all the time and talking to it, basically. No, you write. I didn't talk to my journal, but you know, you're writing in it. You're letting all your thoughts go and ramble. And it's been very good for me throughout my life to have both the paper journals and the online journal. I'm a little concerned that the push to have aesthetically pleasing journals or pages or writing or output, just like in the BookTube community, where there seems to be pressure to have big book hauls, stacks of books you've bought, or to be read piles, or the pressure to read a lot, which it's great to read, but just, it's great to inspire one another and to feel motivated, but I feel like that it can be a bit much for some of us. Some of us probably should just not pay attention to all of that going on and just do our own thing. I don't need to feel bad if I didn't journal a whole bunch of pages, if I didn't paper journal. And other people don't need to feel bad if they didn't type a whole bunch of words, and I did. I mean, it's too hot for me to think clearly, or to, and I've still got to type words and take a photo for my self-portrait project. I hate that photo thing. It's a challenge because I'm so self-conscious and I don't feel like being creative. So it's a tough one for me lately, but I've almost done it for the entire year for the first time ever. So that's a 365 days project on Flickr. So I'm gonna keep doing things, keep trying. I didn't even talk about TV shows. So The Walking Dead, Doctor Who, Supernatural, Sleepy Hollow, The Blacklist. There's so much to distract us right now, so, and to enjoy, but I hope that you're getting out there and doing what you love, or making time for what you have to do to create a life that you will love. It's hard to do with so much to busy ourselves with, but I wish you the best of luck, and I'll try and make a better video next time. I shouldn't apologize. Better or not, this was a video, and that's better than no video at all. So thanks for watching my shiny nose, and take care of yourselves. Learn how, somehow, if nobody's teaching you. That's a tough one, but I'm gonna work on that. So and I can't wait to turn this video off so that I can turn the fan back on. Goodbye.